going to introduce some China industrial energy efficiency benchmarking study or standardization. And short introduction of Top 10. Top 10 is an international independent technical institute that's also mentioned by Patrick this morning. We are sitting there for equally, and also we arranged it from Switzerland actually in 2000 by a group of energy efficiency experts. And we started working in China from 2009, and I joined the Top 10 team at the very beginning of Top 10 China. So we want to be the energy efficiency competence center in residential household appliances, especially cooling, and also industrial motor and system efficiency. We should highlight the system efficiency. And this is our slogan. We call it energy efficiency is the first source of energy. Actually, this is a policy declaration from China and EU to set energy efficiency as its national or regional energy policy. So we have the network mainly in China and also EU, and this list I want to repeat again, and this is abbreviation. If you are interested, you can view my slide because time limited. And now I'm going to introduce something from China. This is China industrial energy consumption from 2000 to 2015. This is the data from the China National Statistic. And we can find that the China energy consumption keep increasing from 2000, especially after 2003 because of the joint WTO. The productivity of China increased a lot. And from 2015, I think the total energy consumption from industry stabilized. And we can find that the manufacturing sector takes the biggest share of China's industrial energy consumption compared to the power supply sector and also the mining sector. I think right now it's stabilizing around 85% of total industrial energy consumption. But the China, we call it energy intensity, but China's industrial energy intensity keeps improving from 2000 to like this 1,500 kilogram of standard coal equivalent to 2015 almost, I think, less half than that, because in China normally we use standard coal equivalent compared to the IEA term TOE, standard oil equivalent. Because China produces a lot of coal, we use coal as the main source of energy. And this paragraph shows better how we keep the total consumption increase, but we improve the total efficiency decrease in recent years. I think there are a lot of policy and programs, actions has been implemented to achieve the decrease of energy intensity in the last, I think, 20 years. But here I just want to highlight two key points from my point of view. Is standardization plays a key role in industrial energy efficiency field. We have two aspects. The first one, of course, is end-use equipment and system standards. That's what I mentioned about transformers, motors, pumps, fans, air compressors. That's called end-use equipment used by factory. And also they have a standard to control the production phase. We call it industry energy consumption per unit product standards. It's a little bit not easy to understand, but I'll explain later. Because it set the standard, the mandatory requirement for intermediary industry products like cement, like construction materials, like metal products, even the copper products, to control the energy consumption in production phase. It's mandatory. I think that's not only about benchmarking, it's about, I think it's policy. This is the first introduction of the major industrial end equipment have been regulated by E standards. We have more than 60 end-use equipment standards, mandatory, domestic, industrial, commercial, and also especially lighting. And industry takes the biggest share, second biggest share of all, because it had about 14 standards. It covers motors, 4 kinds of motors: induction, small power, high voltage, permanent magnet, and also transformers for the transmission and also for distribution, and also the pumps for the clean water, sewage water, even in the petrol refinery industry, in the petrol industry, pumps, and also fans, compressors, boiler systems, that's for the heat, and also we have heater for the petroleum and some specified products, and also the melting machine that covers most of the, I think, the end-use energy using equipment in the factory. And this is, and the next one I'm going to introduce standards for the product unit energy consumption. Because first we identify which sector or which industry consume the most. This is statistic we made, or the data analyzed for our study. We can find that here the ferrous metal production, the chemical and non-metal processing industry, and also a lot of industries that consumes more, which quite coincidentally be reflected by the standard developed because we identify the key industries consume the most energy. Then we develop the standard for such kind of industries. I think that's also the process we followed in a lot of regions to develop the standards. And this is general contents of China unit industrial product energy consumption standard. First, we have the standard for energy conversion factor because in China we use standard coal as a main unit for all the energy. We have to use some standardized table to convert oil, natural gas, electricity, everything into standard coal. I don't know what's the concept, because maybe internationally use a standard oil, but in China we have one standard called GB/T 2589 to set standards for all the resting standards to follow. That's the general, that's an umbrella standard or reference standard. Second, the set factory energy balance regulation. That's the general guidance how to develop the standard. That's the standard of standards. Then, clearly define the product scope, clearly define the boundary of production of energy consumption for each factory. It's specified clearly in the standard. And then they will clearly state how to measure the energy and also how to do the statistics of energy in your factory. And finally set the energy consumption calculation formula for different products of different kind of production line. Finally, they will set some mandatory requirements for different levels. This is benchmarking, I will tell you later. I think that could be the process the standard normally follow to develop, to publish, and implement the standard. This is standard covered by this kind of system. Normally, in total, we have more than 100 standards. That means we set regulation for more than 100 intermediary energy-intensive products for us. And this is the time in which year those standards will be published. It starts from 2010, but 2010 is not the first time because a lot of standards. This is a standard put in effect. Actually, the first one was proposed in 1990s, or more than 25 years. Those are replaced by some newer version. This is one example. It's cement. We have this standard called GB 16780. GB normally in China means national standard. It's mandatory. If the GB/T, it means voluntary. Technical specification. T means technical specification. And the first version actually published in 2009. And it's replaced by the latest version in 2012 and implemented in 2013. I think it sets three thresholds that I've mentioned here, the requirements at different levels. It sets three thresholds. The first one is called existing factory minimum requirements, which used to phase out the inefficient existing productivity. It sets regulation for the existing productivity. Second is new factory minimum requirement. That means if you want to build a new cement industry line, you have to follow this standard. Finally, it said advanced benchmarking. It's a target performance for future development. Maybe this version, maybe 2007 version, it's advanced, but I think in 2012 it will be the mandatory for new line. And this is a table for this kind of standard in 2012. We have the existing new factory and advanced. And for cement product, it has specifically for cement plus the clinker. The clinker is some intermediary for final product of cement. If your factory don't produce clinker, you have to buy from the extra source. You have to specify your production document because it uses a lot of heat. Oh, does not work. So you can figure out from the table. You can see that from the existing minimum requirement, from new factory requirement, and also from advanced benchmarking, you can find it's improving. It's improving from different levels. This is table just directly from the standard. I just copy and translate it into English because we have more than hundreds of tables for different products. And this is one example. This is 2007 version. You can see that from 2012 version, the value of 2012 version is better. I don't know if it's much better or very much better, but I think at least it's improving. It's quite, coincidentally to regulate the Chinese industry. Actually, in the 2007 version, it's a different value for different productivity, like maybe 4,000 tons by value, 1,000 by value. But for the 2012 version, no such kind of productivity requirement. That means all factories, it does not matter the scale of the factory. You have to follow this kind of standard. I think that implies that some small production line has already phased out from 2007 because they don't have to be regulated specifically into this factory. I think this introduction from me about our China, and right now I'm explaining why I'm here. Because normally we import something from EU and work in China, and right now I'm here to introduce something from China. And we have one project funded by Energy Foundation to do the industrial energy efficiency improvement in ASEAN countries. We want to do some regional networking and communication, and we want to do motor and other industrial equipment energy efficiency, and also industrial product energy consumption in ASEAN with ASEAN partners. We want to do some training and capacity building, especially in policy and technical training. And finally, the practical motor system training, which is supported by the Swiss government to do not only to train the people in the classroom with theoretical, we build the demonstrators to train the engineers to touch, to feel, to solve the problem by themselves. And finally, we also cooling is highly prioritized. In China, a lot of institutes would like to do some regional efficiency initiative, and I worked with WWF, ASEAN's like Malaysia, to do expanding the market for energy efficient cooling technology in the WWF's framework, especially in its OPCC One Planet City Challenge. We want to also to stimulate the changes for the city level. Finally, is the lighting. I'm not top 10 directly in this lighting initiative, but I think lighting could be another very hot topic for China Institute working on regional cooperation. I think I want to straightforward to share our spirit or the principle in next cooperation is to share what happened in China, what we've done in China for the last 2 years, and also exchange with you and also listen from you what you did for and support with each other. Because when I talked with the Malaysia colleagues, so he asked me a question: any experience from China for energy, to reduce the energy consumption from the SMEs. I think a while I found that actually in China we don't have a lot of experience in SMEs. Actually that means we have to work together to explore something good both in China and also ASEAN countries in SMEs. Finally, I want to send you all a meeting invitation in Beijing. So it's organized actually by KSAP, UNESCAP and Energy Foundation, and of course Top 10. And it will be in June 20 to 21 this year, and we have 2 days topics. The first one is cooling workshop. That's, I think, more or less quite high level. A lot of people, I think, you'll be receiving invitation from the organizers, but because we are supported by Energy Foundation, I'm here to send invitation on behalf of Energy Foundation to you all. And Top 10 itself will organize 1 day industrial energy efficiency workshop. We also would like to invite people like you to Beijing to share with us, to mix the communication with us. I think it's all from me. Any problem or any questions, just can send me mail or contact me directly. Thank you very much.